Dr. Patrick Cnubben studied chemical engineering in Horsey Technical School in Harlem and chemistry at the University of Amsterdam. He's been employed successfully by pre-consultants Philips Energy Research Centre in the Netherlands, PwC, and the Technology Centre in North Netherlands before his involvement in the Energy Valley Foundation. Within the Energy Valley Foundation, which is now merged into the new Energy Coalition, Patrick has been active for over 18 years and is focused and responsible for the realisation of large-scale investments in the field of bioenergy and gas, enhancing amongst else the production and use of bionic energy carriers such as green gas, bio-LNG and hydrogen. Patrick is the architect of Heaven, the North Netherlands hydrogen project, and involved in many green-related development projects. Recently, Patrick has been appointed to the coordinator of the Green Molecules Programme, Green Hydrogen, Green Gas, with the New Energy Coalition, and further development of these novel value chains is key, from idea generation, knowledge development, realisation, and operation. Patrick Cnubben will talk to us today about the vision and progress to date of the Heaven project. Patrick, over to you, please.
Well, yes. Good morning, everybody. It's afternoon here already in the Dutch side of the North Sea. As Paul said, my name is Patrick Cnubben, and indeed all the slides will be provided to you at the end. And if there are questions, feel free to ask them. If we can't answer them in this Q&A session, we will try to do that in writing. Well, let me first get to where we are. I'm going to explain to you something about hydrogen and about Heaven. And obviously, we don't want to go to Heaven yet, but if we want to implement hydrogen in a clean way, like Alexandru, the previous speaker, said, I think we will have a very clean environment like Heaven should be. And it's all about power to molecules. We need a lot of renewables, and we need to harvest these renewables and tin them, can them, so we can store them in the form of green hydrogen. And this green hydrogen will then enable the hard-to-abate sectors we're all thriving to, let's say, decarbonize. And having a short reflection on the questions from the poll, I think cost is very important, but I think the opportunities are even more important, which include all the things you mentioned, like the decarbonization, the energy security, because it will make you more independent of fossil sources, the economic growth, of course. Tremendous number of jobs are involved, new jobs, green jobs, future jobs. And of course, the energy may be, well, more attractive compared to the fossil, because that's what we need to do. We have to get rid of fossil to make a step. Otherwise, we will never comply with Paris and their agreements. I will not take too much time of the audience, but I'll give them the essentials on Heaven. First, where are we? This is the location in the yellow dot. That's our Heaven project. These are the up north 3 provinces of Friesland, Groningen, and Drenthe in the Netherlands. Adjacent to the northern German side, and to the west side there is a dike, and northern Holland, which may be very well renowned for its capital city called Amsterdam. But this position is very interesting because we are connected to the Wadden Sea, which is connected to the North Sea. And the North Sea is actually one big energy park, one big sustainable energy park. The only thing we need to do is plant a lot of windmills, get the power on, bring it on shore, then convert the power into hydrogen and bring the hydrogen to the markets. And we are obviously quite well situated with our harbors, and we have a very, let's say, access to large chemical industries in our region and in the Netherlands and in the adjacent region. So hydrogen is something which fits us. We are also the home of the largest onshore gas field in Europe, the Slochtland field, which will run down in production in 2023. And the region needs a business. This is very important. A region needs a business. Our business was natural gas and will become hydrogen, more specific, green hydrogen. So we do see this enormous potential, and now we're working on getting that done. And we are very, very pleased and very honored that the European Commission, by means of the fuel cell and hydrogen joint undertaking, has rewarded our project called Heaven, which actually makes us the first hydrogen valley in Europe. And the interesting thing is, we don't want to stay alone. we need more hydrogen valleys in Europe. The hydrogen valleys are a specific topic, also expressed in the State of the Union of Mrs. von der Leyen, as Alexandru Flostian mentioned in the previous presentation. A hydrogen valley is a defined region in which all the elements of the new green hydrogen value chain are existing or under development. So the renewables, the production and the conversion of hydrogen, the transport, the logistics, the traveling around of the hydrogen, and the use cases of hydrogen in industry, mobility, and the built environment. So these elements form a hydrogen valley, and there are lots more things there, because you need educational institutions from the vocational to the academic level, because we also need to educate new and young people in this new business. We need new engineers, we need vocational craftsmen which can connect electrolyzers to a windmill and can safely handle the hydrogen to enable this transition. So it's a big task ahead of us. We're not there yet, but we are on track, let's say it like that. Let me get to the next slide. HEAVEN. HEAVEN is an abbreviation of hydrogen energy applications in valley environments in the northern Netherlands. Fantastic name, but the abbreviation is even more fantastic, HEAVEN. And who doesn't want to have a clean heaven, isn't it? So we are a consortium comprised of 29 entities, so we are very much enjoying the management and the coordination of this group of parties. There are parties from 7 countries: Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, Belgium, UK, Spain, and Ireland. And the parties are comprised of over the whole spectrum of large industry to mid-sized associations, knowledge institutions, and specific attention is being given to the SMEs, because the SMEs are, as I said, a region needs a business. We think that hydrogen is our business, and it's not only about the big companies. It's certainly also about the opportunities for the smaller companies, because the smaller, the SMEs, are usually constituting of the majority of the economic activities in the region. But we also have a very broad support, received very broad support from the Netherlands, from our adjacent countries, from the countries which are in the project, but also from the European Commission and even international, Japan, United States, even up to New Zealand. So it's well received that we engage in this endeavor. Here are some of the key parties: broad, large ones, small ones, international consultancies, manufacturing industries, and I have to stress out again, we could not have done this without the support of the Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Joint Undertaking. And if the colleagues of the Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Joint Undertaking are by any chance listening, and participants and representatives of the European Commission are listening, we need more funding. We need more funding, because this endeavor will take a lot of effort, a lot of funding, because the funding enables these kinds of projects. And we don't want to stay alone. We are reaching out, and we want to reach out to other parties and regions which want to become a hydrogen valley. And let me get into more detail. This is a frightening scheme, which is intended to. This describes the complexity of the project. And the project comprises of, let's say, 4 clusters, because we had to organize the 20-somewhat projects in clusters, otherwise it cannot be managed. 4 clusters. 1 cluster upper north, Eemshaven, Delfzijl, our harbor and our, let's say, main chemical industry in northern Netherlands. The second cluster is the cluster around the underground natural gas storage, which will become a underground hydrogen storage. Because you need storage. The storage is more or less, you could say, the holy grail of green hydrogen. You need to produce the stuff and you need to store it. Whenever there is need, you need to fill that in, and you have to have security. It's like a heart and lung system, like a real, let's say, real functioning organism. This is also connected, this storage is connected to, let's say, the use cases in the built environment, because we have a project in the municipality of Hoogeveen, in which the intent is to build 100 new houses and to run them on green hydrogen, and to, let's say, refurbish up to 1,100 existing homes, residences, to hydrogen or a mixture of natural gas and hydrogen, preferably 100%, but we have to ramp it up. And another one is very interesting, is a combination of a data center and a municipal building. This data center is something which makes us quite happy, let's say it like this, because every city, every big company, every bank, every institution has a data center. And if you want to establish data centers in cities nowadays, that is very difficult to realize because of the restrictions in the power grid. So we think that having a solution to run data centers on green hydrogen is a very good solution. You can overcome all the backup installations running on diesel every 2 weeks or every week, which is actually a bit stupid if you have renewable power. And if you can fuel these data centers with green hydrogen, you can reutilize the heat coming up, put it into a heat grid, and you can also use the overproduction of, let's say, the electricity to put it into a grid. And actually, the grid is the backup, not the prime source. The third cluster is in the down right corner. It's cluster 3. That's in Cnubben, where a traditional gas cleaning installation of a very big oil operator in the Netherlands and gas operator has been refurbished into a green energy hub, where a big electrolyzer will be placed. There will be a pipeline connected to a industry which is also there, and it will be connected to let's say, fueling stations to run up buses and all kinds of other vehicles. And the fourth cluster are the vehicles, because we will employ 105 passenger cars. We will employ, let's say, up to, I think, 10 heavy-duty vehicles. Heavy duty, so like a trailer combination, 400-500 horsepower for long haul, heavy haulage. We will have several light utility vans, up to 10, I think, as well, and other vehicles, and a inland water ship which runs from Groningen in our region to Rotterdam, bringing salt back and forth to, let's say, facilitate the chemical production of or the production of chlorine gas in Rotterdam, and the rock salt is being mined in our region. So this is the, let's say, the whole setup of the project, and it gives you an indication if we can manage this, we will have a situation that there will be a 20 megawatt electrolyzer in the chemical park up north. There will be up to 80 megawatt electrolyzer being installed, respectively providing hydrogen to methanol production and to clean kerosene for clean aviation. There are plans in the feasibility for a 100 megawatt electrolyzer. That's a feasibility study, will be financed separately, of course. I mentioned the gas storage and let's say the other productions, and all this production together with our new investment plan, which is not on the slides, but which has been presented 2 weeks ago, in which our region has stated that we want to have a go at a very big hydrogen investment plan for the Northern Netherlands, with a total investment volume of 9 billion euros to produce about 100 petajoules of hydrogen in the coming years up to 2040. That's a tremendous number. That's about 25% of the Northwestern European usage of hydrogen. So it's tremendous. So we are making steps. The Heaven project gives us the position of being the first hydrogen valley, and that attracts other investment, as you may understand, as I explained. And we want to share this example. There needs to be more of these hydrogen valleys in Northern Ireland, in the UK, of course, in the south of Europe, in Mallorca, on the Iberian Peninsula, in Estonia, in Middle Europe, in the Center of Europe, like Austria, up to Romania. All these regions need to develop hydrogen valleys, and we are very willing to share our experiences from this endeavor. It's not easy. It's a tough cookie, but we will not stop. We will proceed, and we will be successful. This is another graph. I use this graph, which is being prepared by Gasunie, our main gas operator. The yellow dot indicates our region, so this project is there. You can see in the background, there's all kinds of activities, which is more or less related to Heaven. and heaven will expand. And if this expansion goes on, we will, let's say, feed our now called natural gas roundabout, and it will transform into a green hydrogen roundabout, providing green hydrogen not only to our region, but to other regions in the Netherlands and there beyond, Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia, the Hamburg region. So this is more or less the essence of the story. And I hope I have, let's say, managed to get some enthusiasm from the audience side. We are willing to participate in all kinds of activities. We are reaching out. I hope parties will reach out to us to make this a stronger concept and repeat the concept. And now I want to finish my presentation. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them now or in mail sessions, preferably via Paul's Club, via GenCom. That's more controlled. Thank you.
Dr. Cnubben, thank you very much indeed. An excellent presentation on the Heaven project and how things can evolve and be managed. We have a question for you from Stephen O'Riordan. Will the Heaven project have any blue hydrogen aspect?
None. 100% green, because the conditions of the fuel cell hydrogen joint undertaking were that we were allowed to start with a 25% blue portion, but we decided to go fully green. So green from the start to the end.
Excellent. And a question, maybe it's a question that we can take later on, but we'll take it to it's from James Noakes in Belfast City Council. He's referring to the news today that said that the EU is considering that natural gas will not be classified as sustainable or transition investments in Europe unless they meet the emission limits, which are so low that none are currently able to comply. What impact, good or bad, could this have on the EU transition?
So let me repeat it because there were some blurs in it.
Natural gas will not be classified as sustainable or as a transition element unless they meet the emission limits.
Oh, that will be an exciting challenge. I don't have an answer yet, but I think, if you want to go Paris compliant, you need to make hard choices. I'm not saying that natural gas is bad or good. It's a good transition fuel, but we need to explain it to parties that every fuel has its function. And I think, that sometimes you need a transition fuel to make a change. And maybe I think the Commission maybe means to say, this is what we really would like to have, but maybe you need some natural gas for a kind of an interbellum period to get the green hydrogen started. So we could have a more or less a statement that green grows on blue, but blue shouldn't be there too long. But that's on a personal note.
That's excellent. I also like your quote, every fuel has its function. That captures what we talked about earlier, the hybrid solution of green technologies for Europe to make that transition. Dr. Cnubben, thank you very much indeed for an excellent presentation, and we look forward to the Q&A at the end.